Hello everybody and welcome to Profit Mission Control. Matt Trader coming to you. It's Sunday night, December 2nd, very late at night, and I had a crazy weekend. Was trying to squeeze in this video as soon as I can, but I couldn't until now. So here I am trying to go over the weekly recap for the week that ended on Friday, November 30th, 2018. It has been a fantastic week. We had so many winners. We traded a lot of stocks back to our typical normal level of trading. So there's a lot of things to go over this week, and I wanted to spend some time talking to you about the trades as well as where the market has been doing, especially that we've had this news over the weekend. Let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. All the futures are pointing towards a big gap at the open. We will see between now and tomorrow morning whether that gap gets filled. Do we open and squeeze higher? Do we open and collapse? Or do we open and nothing happens? Mondays are usually typical for strong reversals after the first 30 minutes to 45 minutes. But compounded with this news, plus the fact that we are at the beginning of the month of December, and some hopes are up to get a Santa rally before the end of the year. All these factors are going to be in play tomorrow, so tomorrow will be an interesting day, and we can talk about that today as we go through this video. So this week has been very, very successful. We've had a total of 19 launches. 14 of them were winners, 5 of them were losers. I can tell you this week was also very, very volatile from a perspective of the launch list. There are so many stocks, a few of them, 3 or 4 probably, where either I had to adjust the price window, the profit target, either the entry point, the profit target. Did let some of these stocks dip below the abort price because last couple of weeks there's so many stocks that I had to abort only to turn back and push higher. So it looks like algos, were hunting for stops, and my stops were kind of a little bit on the tight side. So I got a little bit stubborn on a couple of stocks, and if I remember them as we talk through these, I will point them out. So this is the how the week ended. Still very healthy accuracy, not as healthy profit to loss ratio. So the average loser was slightly higher than the average winner, but the fact that we had a high accuracy put us still in the profitability area with $8,500 for the week, roughly $4.20 on a per share basis. So if you average out, how many shares you would have taken with each trade, you would have made roughly $4.20. And it's a little bit, profit to loss ratio was below the profit to risk plan of 134%, which has been happening over the last few weeks as I've been taking profit earlier than planned and maybe getting stubborn a little bit more in some of those stop losses. So not a habit that I want to continue to build, but just the nature of the times we're in gives me some leeway in terms of letting some slippage on the abort side, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit. So let's go to the quick market recap, and I have the SPY chart up here. We talked about this last week. Things were looking kind of gloomy. And doom and gloom talk. We were downtrending, and ended up last Friday kind of at this pin bar where the buyers tried to get the market uplifted a little bit, but sellers came in, and we ended up flat for the day. But then comes Monday, and we open with a sort of a small gap, and more importantly, it opened above this channel line, which is a very, very long trend line back all the way. That's my cat saying hi to you. This trend line here, this lower channel line, we kind of ended up going above it as the market gapped open on Monday. which was kind of an interesting sign. So it seems like somebody, is interested in buying. As the week progressed, we started seeing a swelling or increase in daily volume. This day was actually very encouraging on the 28th because we had above average volume for the first time with a green candle. Not very strong volume, but still significantly higher than the last 3 sessions. And we remain green for the week. Now, that's the day we also had, not only did we cross the 5-day moving average line, we also crossed the 9-day moving average line, and we also had a crossover of the 5 to the 9 with a very, very strong green candle. The following day, I did get a long signal on the 5 to 9 crossover with above average, which is all bullish. MACD, if you like the MACD, we had a crossover as well on the 27th, and we're starting to see the histogram bars, or the bars, actually starting to increase, which is also a good sign. And then by time Friday came, we ended up not only challenging this the upper part of this channel, but also challenging this downward trend line. Not only did we break above it, we broke above the 200-day moving average. We broke above this little prior resistance level from this time frame in October. We still ended up closing a little bit below the 200-day moving average, but we were able to break through it and sort of hold at a very interesting level. Now, everybody's waiting for the G220 or the G20 summit and what the results and outcome of that summit would have been. And we seem to have had sort of a positive outcome because China and the US agreed to a little bit of sort of a, let's say, a cold or a pause to the trade wars, which the futures right now are pointing to an open at the 280 and 50 cents level on the SPY. That is a huge, huge departure from where we closed on Friday. Now, not only does that break the 50-day moving average, it puts us in this zone here kind of close to the 100-day moving average. So the key question is the 50-day going to curl up? Because we were very close to a death cross between the 50 and the 200. It may still happen. This week is definitely critical. We either will see a punch through and testing the 100-day, maybe a reversal. We have this upper channel line that we might want to challenge. That's kind of a next level of resistance. But we have a gap. We're going to have to figure out what's going to happen with that gap, because all the prior gaps have ended up being filled. So a lot of questions, very interesting price action on the SPY, kind of mixed bag of emotional conviction for the market, some bulls, some bears. People that shorted down here got burned pretty bad. People that might start to buy over here might, end up being burned anyway. So all you can do is wait and watch and act accordingly on a daily basis as to what the SPY does. I'm going to continue to hunt for potential opportunities and publish them as I find fit. Now, the second one's IWM, and that one we kind of talked about last week as well, is that it looked more clear as compared to the SPY that we were forming a double bottom. Now, the double bottom pattern doesn't obviously complete until you actually have a breakout above this prior resistance, sort of kind of this area here. But looking at the futures, Russell 2000 is right now hovering around 1558. So 1558. So we're somewhere right here as the market is, or at least the pre-market. So technically we haven't yet confirmed a double bottom pattern, but it is challenging the 50-day moving average. So we also have a long crossover here. So a lot of healthy action on the intraday, sort of daily averages. Both broke the 5, 9, and 20, kind of coasting towards the 50, which looks like tomorrow morning will probably be at least testing it, if not breaking it. But we're still far away from the 200 and the 100. So the most damage was done to the IWM, and the most recovery has to happen on the IWM in order to see potentially either I move into the range or just to move sideways before we find out what the market wants to do next. So anyway, kind of my 2 cents. There's obviously a lot of experts that are more smart than I am that can give you more insights. I recommend Brian Shannon. I recommend JC Parrots. There's a lot of people out there that I've interacted with and kind of listen to their talks and stuff that might have more useful information for you. But that's kind of my 2 cents on what happened. So let's talk about the launch list and the results from last week. Oh, one more thing I want to highlight. So last week we had 2 losers on the launch list, and I wanted to just quickly talk about them. One of them was EXEL. And if you remember last week when we talked about the video, is that this was kind of a loser, although the setup looked fairly good. This is kind of where I entered and lost at the same time this day here on the 23rd, but then look what happened after that. I mean, it did break through the launch price. It punched through the profit target, and not only that, it tested the 200-day moving average and it broke it. So, you know, this thing looks like it wants to go more higher, and it's coming close to this fairly strong resistance level. So we'll see, but maybe the 20 to 2080 might be a level where you still have some opportunity there. But that was kind of a, you know, one of those unfortunate things where we say we have a good setup, just the timing was bad, and had you followed through, paid attention to it, you would have potentially recovered from that loss and made, you know, very substantial profit. The second one that was a loser last week was PHM, which we traded twice, once as a loss and then once as a profit. But then I also want to show you what it did. So this is where I lost, and then, you know, again, I made profit on it when it hit I believe it was 24.90 or something like that. But it continued to go up, and we challenged the 100-day moving average, and, you know, kind of moving sideways, maybe consolidating for a while before trying to get another leg up, or maybe potentially coming down. It's just that the setup again was very successful had you stuck with it. And that's one of the things that was spoiling me, is that I said, well, some of the losers are not really, you know, had I patience, had I not, you know, been very strict about my abort price, which had saved me the last few years, just because the market is very volatile. When you have a lot of range in the market, maybe I can, you know, tolerate a little bit of a wiggle below my abort price to just see if I can recover or not. So that's kind of one of the things that I did end up doing this week on some of the stocks, but I definitely don't recommend moving forward. It's just when I see the setup that looks strong, and I kind of look at all of, you know, a confluence of different parameters, it gives me an opportunity maybe to hold on to potentially a slightly losing trade, just give it a little 5 to 10 cents more wiggle to see where it wants to go. Obviously, I can't do this on the long term because it's not sustainable, but certain setups that I think are worth holding on to, I ended up holding on to, and some of them were turn out to be okay, others didn't. So this week, let's talk about the launch list, some of the stocks that were winners this week. So the first one, I don't know if I'll be able to go through all of these, but I'll go through some of the ones that, you know, are interesting. First one was TITN, Titan Metals. Sometimes I reminds me of Tintin. But Titan Machinery, that one came on the launch list, obviously, right here on the 30th, based on this price action. We had a huge, looks like a huge earning, huge volume, relative volume. I mean, this thing doesn't trade a whole lot, you know, 250,000 shares on average. So when you see something like, you know, close to 1 million shares, that's 3 times its normal. Plus, with a gap up, crossing the 200-day moving average and holding above it. So it was natural to put on the launch list here with a break of the prior daily resistance, slightly above, you know, just slightly below that daily resistance, and a push to this resistance level here, right there. So that was kind of the plan there. That would give us a good, healthy potential 32 cents, not a whole lot, sorry. I was looking for this one for 44 cents on this one, because it ranges, you know, almost 90 cents to $1. So 44 cents wasn't out of the realm of possibility. We did get that launch, punch higher, Made it all the way to 1925, although we got our profit at 1871. So I wasn't very patient with this one. Again, because it's typically a low volume, and if you go to the 5-minute, it had moved, very, very quickly. I just took my profit here. Could have held a little bit, squeezed some more, but I didn't. And it ended up actually, if you did take your profit, it gave you another opportunity here, but then after that it sold off and broke below the abort price. So in that case, taking profit early worked to our benefit. The next one on the list is HCC. HCC came on the launch list for November 28th based on the price action on the 27th. It came on our scanners above average volume, sort of a bullish engulfing candle. The idea there, if we broke this daily resistance, we could squeeze potentially to this level of support. So from here, that offered 31-cent profit target. Not bad, especially for a stock that ranges $1.30. So took that trade, worked out well, no issues there. Entered at 22.51 and took profit at 23.39. So that was very, very good, way above the profit target. And I mean, you could look up, it made it all the way to 24.47, and I think I commented that could have held a little longer, but again, it's fine to take profit, and I took profit way above my profit target, so that was still a very strong winner. Next one, JKS. JKS, if you are following me on StockTwits, I put this as a moonshot alert. It came as a moonshot alert this day on the 26th. Naturally, a moonshot alert means you get about $1 profit from the alert price. And I had made profit on this day here, but then also the momentum is very strong. Strong earnings, gap up, above average volume, all the daily moving averages trending upwards. So the idea there was to break the high of this day and a push to the 100-day moving average. That was kind of the plan, and that's exactly what happened. The 11.10, 11.12 was the entry. The target was 11.55, and I ended up taking the profit at 11.65, so squeezed just a little bit more, but the thing moved all the way to 11.95, and the next day it went to 12.26. So the moonshot alert, $1 to $1.25 potential profit target. And as a moonshot alert, I did hold on to some of the shares from the day prior, all the way to the $1. So I could have gotten the $1.25 or $1.20 profit target, but I got the $1 at least from entry at 11. I think it was 11.12. I have to go back and look, but it was somewhere in the upper 11.8 or something like that, with the target at 12.8 or higher, and we got that. So moonshot alert delivered again on this case. Plus we use it as a launch list on the 27th and made a good profit there. All the solar stocks are very strong lately, so this may continue to go higher, especially that it still closed above its 100-day moving average and has a nice gap to fill to the 200-day moving average. The only concern is there's a lot of resistance in this area, and plus we have a gap here on the daily which may want to close it before going further, so I don't know. GME, GameStop, that one was an intraday para move here on the 21st, so it came on the launch list actually for the 23rd based on the price action on the 21st, because it had a para move intraday with some news of potential buyout. I think they sold something. I can't remember what the story there was, but the idea was to play it as so when the para move occurred, here, it made it all the way to 14.48 and pulled back and sold off here around, closed around 13.69 area. So the idea was to play within this tail plus a little bit more at the 200-day moving average. So my idea there was to enter above an intraday break of this level, which corresponds to this level here, and push the 200-day moving average. That was kind of the window of opportunity, and we did end up launching at 1422 or 1420 with a profit target at 1460, and exactly got that. I believe it pushed a little bit higher to 1480 if you held on to it, but I didn't. But I got my exact desired profit target. The next few days, it continued to march higher, crossed the 200-day moving average, crossed the 20-day moving average, failed at the 100-day moving average, pulled down, and then we had a big sell-off here. So I don't know what the deal is with the stock. Probably had bad earnings. That's why it sold off. But the one we traded it, it was the right setup. We got this profit we wanted, and we move on to the next one. Well, I'm going to skip a few of these. Let's go to... okay, let's see. Survey Monkeys, SVMK. SVMK came on the launch list here, all the way back here on November 19th. We didn't trade it, but again, the idea there was based on this this price action. We had a long crossover there. We had very huge bullish engulfing, so it looked very attractive. So the idea is if you break the high of this day, what profit window you have profit window at least to this level of resistance, which is a good 37 cents. And unfortunately, it sold off, so we never had a launch condition, but the launch setup was still there. And then it decided coming back here on the 29th of November. We had an actual, the 28th of November. Let's see, 28th or 29th. Survey Monkey launched on the 28th, right here. Okay, I see. This was a one that I adjusted the prices on, so that's why I'm confused. So yeah, this was the initial setup. It never happened until coming here, and then I think on this night when I saw this price action, I modified my entry to 28 and with a profit window to this level here, and we ended up going from 1355 to 1392. So we traded this down here, actually 1355 to 1392 here. So okay, so here's what happened. Sorry guys, this was the original setup. It failed to hit it, pulled down. Then as I review my launch list candidates, I saw that after the sell-off, it started curling back up. We still remain positive, trending on the daily moving averages. So on this day here, on the 27th, I adjusted the entry price above this level here, thinking that if it broke this level, the 1355 level, it will try to attempt at least and test this area where it started selling off. And that was kind of the plan. Is it gave me 40 cents or so potential profit target, 37 cents, so 55 with a profit target there. So if I delete this, or at least move it out of the way, you can see kind of what the window looks like there. But anyway, that was kind of the plan, and ended up being worked out well. And then I think on Friday it pushed all the way to 1524 before selling off significantly after that. Let's see what else we got. SMAR, strong stock again. Came on the launch list for the 27th. This is one of the stocks that I regretted taking profit early. I chased a little bit to get in. 24.55 was the entry plan. I believe I entered a little bit higher than that. No, it actually did launch on the 27th, so it launched right there where my planned target entry was, with the profit window slightly above the candle here, which corresponds to this level of support, or kind of which now is resistance. It blasted through it and continued higher. I only ended up taking profit on this one, unfortunately, at 24.98. So right at, that's almost right at where my initial profit target was. But then this thing just kept going and going and going. And had you stuck with it, you could have squeezed all the way to 26.50, 26.90. I didn't, but this chart is actually pretty strong, other than the fact that there's not enough above average volume, and plus we have earnings, looks like, for December 4th. So I would wait after earnings and see what it does, but it had definitely some strong potential momentum over here. Let me take some water. What else that's interesting on the list? I mean, the rest are sort of smaller winners, but MLCO, I think that was another disappointment. I mean, the fact that it had more potential than I held on to. So MLCO came on the launch list for November 16, but it never launched until the 23rd, right here. Right there. So again, price action here on the 15th, put on the launch list for the 16th. It was challenging, just kind of down trending line. Obviously had above average volume buying over the last few sessions after earnings. So the idea there is if it crossed the 20-day moving average, which corresponds to the break of this intraday high, or sorry, this daily high, then it has a potential to squeeze above this level. And that was kind of my profit window. It didn't occur all the way until the 23rd, when it touched, you can see here, it touched the entry price with a little bit of wick and then pulled down, but never actually hit the abort price. And the next day it's opened above the launch price, squeezed to our profit target, and we got profit and closed the deal there. So that was a very good setup with a good winning opportunity that we captured. EQT was another stock that was kind of a small winner there, but had all the right indications. Upward momentum, came on the launch list here. Idea was to break this daily resistance with a potential squeeze to this level of resistance. So you break here, you go to here. Profit window there was 41 cents, and we ended up taking profit on this one slightly below the profit target, 35 cents, just because it wasn't showing strong momentum. My cat is hungry. Sorry for the interruption. All right, let's jump to some of the losers, because I don't want to, Forum is another one. Look at this stock here. Forum was a winner on the, this launched on the 30th, and we took profit on the 30th. So that was on Friday. And the only reason I closed it was because I didn't want to go into the weekend with a profit, with a stock that has profit. I didn't want to go into the weekend and risk losing, that profit. So it had more window to the 1670 area, but I took profit at 16 at the close of the day, which was 1649. Again, very strong looking chart. Very, very strong bullish action here. Pull down. Looks like it's forming kind of a little mini cup. And if it breaks out sort of above the 1680 or so, I don't know where it might go, but there's just kind of a lot of choppiness here, but potentially has some potential all the way to $18, sort of $17.70 to $18 if it continues to have that momentum. But we ended up taking profit on Friday on that one. And then SNS. One of the crazy movers of the last week, and this was the Deca alert back on Monday, and I alerted that at, I can't remember, $2.50 or something like that. And it made a very, very strong move, pulled down a couple of days. I put on a launch list actually the day after the Deca alert, just because, like I mentioned before, this with 40 million shares traded in one day for a stock that trades almost 300,000 shares a day. So there's all the float on this chair was, all the float on this stock was traded multiple times. Bullish engulfing. I mean, obviously it has to be on the watch list for the next day. So the idea was if it broke the high of this day, then we could squeeze up to this level. You know, I was looking for 12% or so, which is kind of somewhere around here. See, like this resistance all the way back here. I know it's hard to see. That's kind of, you know, the stock obviously was averaging or ranging in the $17 to $18, had obviously huge bad news, sold off with a huge gap down, continued to sell off, but that was kind of the level of profit target that I was looking for. Now, the unfortunate part about this stock is that instead of breaking the launch price the day after, it pulled back, a lot of kind of choppiness here. And then on Friday, it started, look where it started. It started at $3.53, and our launch price was $4.60. And that sometimes I don't like that when that happens, is that the launch price is far away from where the stock price is on that day, but then for whatever reason, buyers came in and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. What that puts us at a disadvantage, because I know that as we launch, we've already made a huge move, and the potential for us to really hit our profit target becomes more questionable, let's say the least. This stock averages only 50 cents a day. Initially, it was averaging 48 cents a day. This thing actually moved its average for a while, but anyway, I was hoping to launch from $14.60 to $5, and it didn't happen. It actually tested. So let me go to the 5-minute on this one, because that one kind of is important. So this one launched at $14.60, pushed all the way. One candle took it to $14.85. It was rejected. The next 5-minute, $14.808. It was rejected. After that, it pushed to $14.86 and it was rejected. Pulled down close to my entry price. So I said, this thing might be turning back now, and I don't want to lose anything on it. So my idea was that the next push upward, whatever it is, I'm going to take my profit. And I ended up exiting this at $4.72, somewhere over here. So again, it failed to break that. It came back and tried to test it, but it didn't. So it was very clear that this area here, 1474, was acting up as a very strong resistance, at least intraday. It doesn't mean like on the daily, it may not, it probably will break sometime soon. I don't know, but I took out the profit. I think it's definitely something to keep on your watch list, just because of the volume involved on this day. And plus this huge gap that needs to be filled. So, I mean, everybody's eyes are on this stock. Whether it does potentially break and move higher, at least to this level of $7.58, that's a possibility. Will it happen tomorrow or the next week? I don't know, but it's something to keep an eye on for sure. All right, so let's talk about some of the losers. We've got OMER. That was one of the first losers, and I hate this stock with a passion. This stock has never ever been a winner with me. I believe, if I go back to my records, I know every time I put it on a launch list, it failed me. Maybe once it was successful, but every other time, this stock likes to whip like crazy. And I'm gonna put a note for myself that whenever this shows up again, I will probably not post it. But anyway, OMER looked like it was trying to fill this gap. We had big sell-off here after earnings, trending down, and then we finally had this breakthrough where you see some bullish action there. Following the next day, and the next day it broke the 20-day moving average after breaking the 5 and the 9, and we have sort of a little bit of a crossover there, not with above average volume, so that's kind of a warning sign there. But the idea there was to play within this candle again. So when I saw this price action on the 23rd, my idea was to break above this level here, which is all the way, here. which is kind of the bottoming tail, this kind of, which was a support before, which is now a resistance. So he broke above that resistance, at least give me a profit window within this tail. So I was looking for no more than 38 cents, 38 to 40 cents there. So it came on the launch list on the 26th. It did launch on the 26th, and we lost on the 26th. So if you could look, very, very carefully here, it broke above the launch price right there, 1445, and failed to move more than 1460, and then sold off, and I exited. I had to abort. And the abort there was at 1418, so it was, a loss. Now it tried that level again and didn't work here. Tried that level again, made a little bit higher push, but didn't still work. Pulled back, and I don't know. This level obviously is an important level, the 1450, 1455 area. At this point, I would say anything without breaking the 1484 level, I wouldn't trust this stock. Especially that there's not a lot of volume involved. So lesson learned there, volume does help make a better decision. And in this case, there was a losing trade for us, but again, sometimes there are losers. DAR, that's one of the stocks that I got stubborn with. I believe I still ended up losing on this one. This one was based on this price action, which is very bullish. We have a bunch of daily moving averages trending upwards, very, very strong green candle. So it came on the launch list here for the 28th. Now something is wrong with this one again. Let's see, I think so. Okay, this one had a initial price window that I altered on the actual launch day, because it opened here, sold off. So I ended up saying, okay, I'm going to enter a 22.19 with the profit target at 22.59 here. And that didn't work out, and it sold off. And then I entered it again actually on Friday, and it sold off even further, but I'm still holding on to it. So the first time I entered, I lost on it. The second time I entered, I'm still holding to it, and it's a losing trade because it went all the way to 21.61, and I continue to hold on to it. And although it is actually, I'm supposed to abort at 13.98. So, no, looking at the wrong one, I'm sorry. With DAR, okay, I'm talking about a totally different one, WBT. So DAR was a loser. I lost out of it, and that was it. I didn't come back in it. So sorry to confuse you there. I think it's the one I'm talking about with WBT. Let's go to that one right now. WBT is the one where I lost on the first time. I entered it again, and I'm still holding another losing position on it, but I do believe this thing potentially will bounce again on Monday. So you could argue this is the wrong decision, but I just know I was stubborn with this one for some reason, and I'm continuing to hold on to it. Obviously tomorrow, Monday, if this falls below 13.50, 62 level, 60 level, I will probably get out of it. So just letting you know, one of those things where I decided to be stubborn on. Maybe I'm wrong. Most likely I'll be proven wrong, because that's what happens when you break the rules. So IVC was another loser. This was selling very strong. I kind of thought there's a potential buyers coming in. So if I broke this level here, it would squeeze at least to this level. That didn't happen. It did trigger, but then sold off. So I got out with a loss on this one. And then the last one is BCRX. And that one seems very strong so far. And actually, the day it came on the launch list here, it was a break of an intraday price level right here, 930 exactly, with a potential play above this intraday. So the idea there is you enter because this was strong with a pullback. Okay, if it hits this intraday price level, tries to push to the high of this day and push higher. That was kind of my profit window. I was looking for about 34 cents. This day didn't work out. I launched it on the 28th, which was this all the way here. Sorry, the 26th. Launched on the 26th and pushed all the way there. Did not take profit, and it actually came all the way down to the abort price, and I had to abort at 9:03 on the second day here. So I aborted on the 27th. Until the 26th, aborted 27th with a loss. Now the following day, of course, it comes and breaks the launch price, approaches the profit target again, but I did not take this one again. I think it's setting up actually for potentially, if it breaks the 964 area, has room. Will be a kind of breaking this double top, and has room maybe at least to challenge this pivot line here at 1105. So it has some quiet ways to go. The chart itself is bullish. There's no question about it. We had strong volume here. All our moving averages are trending higher. So it's consolidating. It may pull back a little bit, maybe to test the 833 level, maybe the 870 level, but then I think overall this will continue to trend upwards if you are into swing trading. All right, so that was all the stocks on the launch list, and like I mentioned, it was still a very healthy week. Ended up with 8503. The $2,500 challenge has approached 145K as of November 30th. Next week will be a full year since we started this challenge, which was December 8th of last year. So within that full year, we're looking at about 5,000% growth. And you've seen all the trades. I published them all. We've proven that this system kind of works. And what's coming next is two things. One of them is automation. So I'm going to use my Excel Command Center software and plan to fund an Interactive Brokers account with $50,000 and trade that through automation. So the share size is going to be below what I have right now because IB only gives 4x leverage. Plus, I want to also minimize my overall trade risk. So I'm going to be trading only 50,000K account with automation. I am thinking about a $5,000 small account challenge in parallel on the small brokerage offshore account. So this will all happen probably around the end of the year, maybe early January. I might pull it earlier, but I'm working through that the next couple of weeks. I am very, let's say, exhausted. This year has been very, very tough. So many things going on, and I do want to take at least a week or two to kind of step back and reevaluate what needs to happen next. Continuing to publish the launch list. I'd like you to, comment below if you can. If you do like these videos, I want to get some feedback. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, and also provide comments as to what content you'd like to see. Whether you'd be interested in a more intraday alerts or more newsletter type style where I send you directly the launch list candidates with the potential, entry and exit targets. I want to make sure that I'm helping as many people as I can, and I also want to make sure this process, it can be replicated to either whatever account size it is. Obviously, there's going to be a limit on the account size. you know, as your account size gets bigger, this process may no longer work, or you'd have to adjust your strategy a little bit. But the reason I'm taking it to automation because I want to try more to focus on my intraday alerts too, because I've been back testing some of those intraday alerts. I'm going to have more emphasis on them next year. I'm excited about the fact that Trade Ideas is going to have Holly be automated as well with the Brokerage Plus platform. And I also want to try, as I'm automating the launch list, potentially automate some of my intraday alerts as well. So things like the Moonshot Alert, the Heat Alert, the Dodeca Alert. I've developed a new alert called the Nexus Alert, which I think I shared with you guys. So let me pull that out here quickly. Let's go to my StockTwits account and show you something here. Oh my gosh, hide this guy. So down here a few days ago, I talked about this intraday alert called the Nexus. So Nexus Alert is a derived momentum scanner that I back tested it. Now, statistically, it's not very significant because I don't have a lot of sample size, which I'm aware of. That means the first time I get this alert, I'm going to be a little bit cautious about its validity. However, I filtered this down and optimized it to a point where it gives you a couple of interesting things. Number one, the stop loss is only 8 cents. I mean, you can expand it to 10 cents, so it's not a huge stop loss, right? So it's 10 cents stop loss. It has a potential profit target of 50 cents or more based on the back testing. So from the alert price, you have the potential of making 50 cents or more. And the idea there is that you either take profit at your profit target. The alert only should be active for no more than 240 minutes after it triggers. And after the 240 minutes, you either have exited because you hit your profit target, or because you hit your stop loss, or you just exit at whatever value it is. Now, based on the back testing, that value ranges between 30 cents to 50 cents or higher. So overall, it has a very huge profit factor, close to 12. Based on these entries and exit, the profit factor is at least 5x. So, you got 10 cents stop loss versus 50 cents potential profit. That's like a profit factor of 5. But statistically, it's showing about 12. Again, these are only 8 trades over the last 64 days. So it's a very rare trade. That's why I called it the Nexus. And if you guys follow Star Trek, you'll see the Nexus was kind of this fancy place that you only get once in a while. But anyway, the point there is that I'm waiting for this to trigger because I want to test it. Next year, I'm going to be focusing more on these intraday alerts as my automation for the launch list happens automatically, and I don't have to give it, my 100% attention, but maybe my 60 to 70% attention while I'm managing more of the intraday alerts. All right. So anyway, long story short, I hope you guys have a great night. Tomorrow, Monday, market is gapping up. Let's see what happens, and I wish you have a fantastic week. Take care.